Okay, next up I want to take a look at arrival zones and show you a couple of alternate methods from the big loop of track that I showed in my original video that a lot of people thought was ugly, and I kind of tend to agree. But the first one is kind of, once again, we'll start out sort of simple. The first one is basically we just have a little arrival section of track that's not powered with a whole bunch of stone pressure plates. And the idea behind this is we come into the station, here we are. When we jump out, we have no choice but to press the stone pressure plate, which then returns our cart to our Pez dispenser. Now, this certainly works. There are two reasons I didn't use this in my station. One, I don't know, it's just kind of boring. But two, it doesn't handle empty carts at all. So I think that's kind of the bigger problem. So if we have an empty cart that comes in, say you jump out early, say it's a runaway cart, you know, whatever, that's going to sit there on the platform and it's never going to be returned. Whereas the first system I showed and the next system I'll show you will handle empty carts. So that's kind of my objection to this one, the kind of biggest one. The next one we'll take a look at. If you've seen the video I posted before my station tutorial titled something like I don't know, new method of passenger detection or something like that, then this setup will look pretty familiar. Basically we have just a ramp very similar to the type of ramp I showed as my original departure zone method, a stone pressure plate, and we've got blocks on either side, and then some redstone circuitry that I'll get into in a minute. But basically what happens is we enter the station, we activate this detector rail, which turns on our passenger detection system, and then when our cart comes in, lands on the stone button, and unlike the departure zone that activates when this button is pressed, the arrival zone activates when this button is no longer pressed. So that'll send out our bumper cart, which shoots off our empty cart down the track back to our Pez dispenser, and as it goes, it hits the second detector rail that deactivates our passenger detection system, so that bumper cart is no longer in motion. Now the problem with this, this worked great before 1.6, and I'll show you what happened in the 1.6 patch that kind of broke this system. So here we are, it seems to be working fine, and when we get out though, our bumper cart can no longer push this cart off of the stone pressure plate. Prior to 1.6 this worked fine. After 1.6 there's some sort of weird state change going on with carts that prevents the bumper cart from moving it off down the track. However, after a comment posted on my video that mentioned a way of kind of getting around this, I think I've gone ahead and fixed it, so it should be operational now. Basically what we're going to do, rather than getting directly out of the cart, we're going to have a second cart here, and I'm putting these half blocks down so our second cart can't move anywhere. But basically what's going to happen is, rather than jumping directly out of the cart, we will instead jump to this one and then exit that cart. So let's give this a test. So here we are, and so rather than jumping directly out, we're going to jump into this, and you can see that cart is now moving, and off it goes. So that system should work now. I'm not real thrilled about having a second cart to jump into. I like to make my stations kind of as foolproof as possible, and I don't know, if someone doesn't, especially if this is say on a multiplayer server and someone doesn't know that they need to jump directly into this cart, it's going to break this system. So I'm not real thrilled about that, but if you don't think that's going to be a problem, I'll go ahead and show you how to construct this. Let's see how much time we have. Not a whole lot. So basically what we're going to do is we have same kind of setup here, just the standard ramp. You can watch the departure zone video to learn how to build this if you're not sure. But then we just have a stone pressure plate, half blocks on either side. So immediately before our ramp, I'm going to drop in a detector rail, and then 2 powered rails after. In this case, I'm going to drop in a second detector rail. And then we can just run some more powered rails off of that. So the first thing we're going to want to do is build a RS NOR latch off of these detector rails, and this will basically allow us to kind of toggle between 2 states. I do have some redstone videos up that kind of go into more detail about this kind of thing, but I'm just going to run some redstone off of these, and you can certainly hide this underground just for the sake of time. I'm just going to build it above ground here. Let's see. Let's put it. So, build our RS NOR latch. And then I'm actually going to move that over. So here's our RS NOR latch. And then we're going to, first of all, invert the power coming off of our stone button. So in this case, I'm just going to drop a torch right on the side of the block. And then just run that out. So then we need to put in an AND gate, which is basically 3 blocks in a line, a torch on either end, and then a torch on front. And then we put a piece of redstone right across that middle block. So then our power from our inverted stone pressure plate is going to run into one side of our AND gate, and the output from our RS NOR latch is going to branch off and go in the other side of our AND gate. Then we can just run redstone from the output of our AND gate into our powered track like that. And then to finish this off, to make it work for 1.6, let's see. We'll get some stone slabs. And drop in a couple carts. Oh, one final thing I forgot. What can happen if we just do it like I've done here? When this button gets pressed, it's going to immediately activate this cart. So we want to delay this button press so this cart doesn't get sent out before we have time to travel across the ramp and land on the stone button. So to fix that, we just need to drop in a few redstone repeaters. I've done this with as little as 2, but if you're gonna err on the side of longer delay. So just drop in some redstone repeaters in the line of redstone coming out of our first detector rail, going into our RS NOR latch. So that will basically just delay the input from this RS NOR latch, or from this detector rail into our RS NOR latch. So this should now be set up, and so let's hop in, give it a test. So here we are, jump to the second cart, and there it goes. So this line would then run all the way back to our Pez dispenser. So this is a method that should work in 1.6, obviously, working in 1.6, and it prevents you from having that big loop of track in the original sort of sorting area. And like I say, the advantage of this method is that it will work with empty carts as well, because empty carts will not press that stone pressure plate at all. So let's give it a test with an empty cart. So there it goes, and you can see the empty cart is being handled just fine by the system. So there you go. That's kind of an alternate method here, And I'm running out of time anyway, so I will just leave it at that. And if you have any questions, of course, just post a comment, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks a lot.